Hello, just wanted to help you do some string art practice. Really, this is the line design part. We're not going to use strings today. So you're going to use a ruler and a pencil, so you need those ready. Straight edge is fine, we're not actually doing measuring. And you need a pencil so you can do some erasing. So a little example here, you're going to connect the farthest out to the inside, and then you just kind of keep turning your ruler until you connect them all like you see here. So let's start out with a basic angle. I'm going to use this basic right angle at the bottom first. We're going to connect 1 to 1 and use your ruler to connect these. A good thing to use is grid paper too. Grid paper is a good way to measure out your dots and make sure they're even. You do want to make sure you have the same number of dots, like on your y-axis, as you do on your x-axis. So basically we're using some math, some measurements to create art. So sometimes coming up with the patterns for your own design can be tricky, but practicing helps. So make sure you're connecting, and I'm just turning my ruler, kind of turning it counterclockwise, which can help when we get to the circle pattern. So just connecting the dots, draw a line. And you can incorporate the X into this if you want to, but you don't have to. I'm going to, because there's an extra dot. And then the same thing when you go to do this is 4 angles. There's one angle here, there's one here, and here, and you will use the dots twice. And how many angles are on a triangle? Obviously 3. So you have one angle here, one there, and one there, and sometimes it helps to block out part of, maybe block this one out when you're doing this angle, and then you can always block out this line when you're doing that angle, and block out this line when you're doing that angle. And you will use the dots twice. This one's just another basic angle. It's just more acute. So let's look at this circle pattern. Notice there's no numbers on this. That's on purpose, because you can start and go across depending on how big you want to make it. For example, I have a finished string art here that was based on a circle. Now they used the same holes, the same dots, to do both circles, but how far they went across depends on how big the opening is. For this wide circle, they didn't go very far across to start. But for this smaller opening, they went further across, but not all the way across. If you go directly across, then you won't have an opening at all. So I'll show you one of those. I'll go kind of halfway across, and wherever I start, you just keep turning your ruler. That's why I like to use a clear ruler. And you just keep turning to the next one, clockwise or counterclockwise, whatever you're comfortable with. What's important with this one, when you go to make your own pattern, is that you have an even number of dots, because you need the lines to connect to the other side. If you did an odd number, you would end up with an extra dot. You don't want to have unused dots, unused holes on your project. So sometimes the tricky part with this is if you stop and take a break, you might forget where you left off at once you start using the holes twice. And yes, we're going to use these holes twice. That's how you know you did it right, if every dot gets used twice. I call them dots on this project, but when you go onto your final, you are going to poke holes through the cardboard. So sometimes I call them holes. All right, now I'm getting to this one again, where I'm going to have to reuse that dot. Make sure where I left off. And this is where if you walk away to take a break, it can be tricky to remember where you left off. So sometimes you'll want to make like a little mark. Okay, this is my next one, and make a little mark over there so you remember where you left off. If you need to step away, or if it's the end of class. I typically do this project with 7th and 8th graders. I haven't tried it with 6th graders. Oh, did you see what I just missed a hole? So if you were doing string, it's pretty easy just to back your string out. It's a pain to fix things if you are drawing it out. You kind of put those marks back on there. Phew, caught it, fixed. But this is just practice. You'll draw out your real design maybe on some graph paper, your own drawn out ideas. So this one takes some time to plan it out, but then once you have it planned out, it's very satisfying to draw the lines, to do the string. Many of my students find it very relaxing. Maybe you will too. Just showing you the whole thing for the circle here. So just turning to the next dot, making sure I'm using all of them twice. And then decide what your final pattern is going to be. Are you going to use only angles? Are you going to put circles in your pattern? If you enjoy doing the circle, make it part of your final pattern. Okay, I'm getting close to the end here. Got a few more dots to use twice. You know you did it right. If you didn't miss any, and you use them all twice. All right. I think I got it. Looks okay, but you can see how that circle size depends on how far apart, how far you go across, like I showed you on this one. And then you can come up with a combination of different angles and patterns, like this person just did angles. This person did a combination of angles and patterns in their idea. So have fun creating.